The news that Goku wasn't able to train shocked his friends and family. Naturally, they searched for an answer to the mysterious things that had started happening to his powers. Everyone knew about it, especially Frieza. These unexplainable problems with Goku's powers were just the beginning of what would become a major attack. But there was no way for them to know at the time that Frieza had been carefully watching. Yes, Goku is still strong, as I had expected. I have to admit I won't hold him off with my current power, Frieza had muttered bitterly to himself, although his cold laugh trembling under his breath. He isn't as strong as I assume he should be. I guess the rumor really is true after all. Days later, struggling through vines and twigs in the middle of the hot jungle, a woman pushed over a rock. "Found it!" she screamed excitedly. Unable to lift herself up, a young boy came flying through the air to pull her out and place her safely on her feet. "Thanks, Trunks. That was the last one." Bulma smiled as she shoved the small, round orb into the bag on her hip. Neither one of them noticed something or someone vanish into the bushes. Arriving back to their airship, Trunks and Bulma were distracted by the ring of the phone. As the young Saiyan flew into the ship to answer the call, a figure with a long tail squeezed its way through a slender opening through the trees just behind them. Seconds later, Trunks came running to the door, saying that the call was from Vegeta. Bulma didn't realize the mistake she was making as she dropped her things on the ground before rushing up the stairs. There on the side of the ship's steps sat Bulma's shoulder bag, one of the orange orbs almost spilling out. Frieza smirked. "It is most important that I secure what's in her bag. With that, I'll show Goku what I've kept secret all this time." Now crouching behind a thick group of vines, Frieza watched as the mother and son moved to sit in the chairs behind the dashboard. He knew he would be blocked from their view. Moments later, Bulma returned to the door of the ship. But as she reached the bottom of the staircase, she stopped stiff and felt her heart sink. All that disturbed her was that the Dragon Balls had disappeared. It was only about 20 minutes after this when back in the city, Gohan was standing outside Goku and Chi-Chi's house, his eyes locked in front of him. How was an ordinary earthquake able to do something like this? Gohan wondered, afraid. It had just happened moments before this. Sitting annoyed on his couch, waiting for the news that King Kai would allow him to start his training again, Goku had felt a sudden shifting beneath his feet. Quickly, the vibration had rattled the walls of the entire house. Once the shaking had come to a halt, Chi-Chi had asked anxiously, "An earthquake? Here?" Gohan, who had been there discussing with his parents what they could do to get Goku back to his normal self again, decided he should go outside to check for damage. But when he had walked out the door, he had a strange feeling that he was somehow in a completely different world. It was mysteriously calm and normal. What's happening here? Goku and Chi-Chi followed their oldest son, with Goten trailing behind. And when they arrived, Chi-Chi's eyes grew wide. It's like nothing even happened. Gohan had journeyed away from his parents' home a bit more, but as he found no signs of the earthquake all four of them had surely felt, he turned back around. But as he had reached the front lawn, he stopped with a jolt. His mouth had fallen open. Seeing his reaction, the family had bolted to his side. Goku followed his gaze up the house, and a terrifying scene met his eyes. The only sign of an earthquake was there. A crack from end to end lined the middle of the house. And that's when Gohan asked, how was an ordinary earthquake able to do something like this? Goku shook his head. Someone did this. Are we being targeted? Asked Gohan, a chill overcoming his body. Months passed after this bizarre phenomenon, and Goku had finally gotten the news that he was allowed to train again. I could feel the new power coming last time I trained. Now I can finally hit it, he had said confidently. But for Gohan, who had decided to watch over his father's training just in case nothing strange happened to him again, it was hard to say Goku would ever be the same fighter, because each training session revealed that his power had simply changed somehow. And this day was no different. Punching the air furiously, Goku was worried by what he had just felt as he thought, "I'm already tired? After I perfected my Ultra Instinct state, my ki has been draining faster. On top of that, after pushing myself that time, the amount I can use in my forms has gotten smaller than before. I have to try even harder," Goku silently declared. Watching nearby, Gohan could not help noticing how his father was determined to avoid the quickened pace of ki leaking from his body. "Let's take a break," he said loudly, bringing Goku's mid-air kick to a stop. As they sat down and opened their boxes full of still steaming food, Goku asked, "Gohan, where's Vegeta? He was supposed to be here today." "That's right, I haven't told you," Gohan remembered. "It seems like he did too much training for Bulma's liking and was forced to make it up to her. So he's helping her and Trunks search for the Dragon Balls since someone stole them last time. Goten went along too." Goku's pulse raced at the very thought of passing Vegeta again. "Well, it can't be helped," Goku said as he sprung to his feet. He punched his fists against each other and looked at Gohan with determined eyes. "Should we get started again?" Gohan sighed and smiled. "Okay then, first thing we need..." Suddenly, they both jumped up as if they had received an electric jolt. Their faces drained of color. They turned their heads simultaneously in the same direction. "Do you feel that?" Gohan asked, closing his eyes. "Focus, Gohan," he told himself. Screams, the rattling of cars, vibrations of blasts. Gohan flung open his eyes and looked at Goku angrily. "I can't make out everything from the city. I'm too far away. I can only focus my senses on the people in the closest area. But almost 50 people in that area. They're all gone." The news shook Goku to his core. Coincidentally, when Goku was supposed to be rebuilding the power needed to protect lives, someone had returned to finish the challenge they had started months ago with a mysterious earthquake. Not far away, in the middle of the biggest city nearest to them, people fled their cars and darted down the street like a herd of animals. Thin, short lines of light spread across the street, striking buildings, cars, and people alike without warning. A shrill laugh echoing from building to building covered over them. "Thanks to the Dragon Balls, I have gained confidence in my ability to finally get rid of these Saiyans," Frieza exclaimed, unable to contain the rush of rising excitement. Goku's anger surged through him, turning into physical strength as a golden hue spread around his body. "This feeling, that's Frieza," he growled. "I won't allow him to take their lives away. I promise you, I will save them no matter what." With a shock so enormous it had him rooted to the spot, Gohan realized. "What are you saying? Will you really try unlocking that again? Remember what it did to you last time. To see if Goku will actually go through with this risky move, click here. Turn on all notifications. And if you want to help create the future of this fan manga, join the AniFam on Patreon.